Purple pants, premonitions. Brice and Gary, purple pants, premonitions. Spiritual care and a tarot reads on the way.
What is going on? We are following through the rest of the year with your Purple Pants Premonitions for the month of December. I am excited to be here. As always, one of my favorite segments on the Purple Pants podcast is the Premonitions. And not only because the Premonitions are always a word to me, but it is my co-host that does it for me, that makes it my favorite part. So I'm so excited to have the co-host, the author of the Purple Pants Premonitions, Gary DeAndre. Welcome back to the podcast.
What's up? What's up? What's up? It's good to be here. It's good to see your face. I'm sorry that I've been, because the dog been on the run, okay? And she's been sicky icky, but she's here now. So I'm very happy to be here.
Yes, I'm happy that you are here with me and with us. I feel like to the listeners, Gary and I, we message back and forth like, what's up? When we recording, that's what we've been doing all year. And some months it's like today, other months it's like, girl, catch me next week. Okay, right. This December is one of those months where it was like, should we wait to the end of the month? Should we, because sometimes the spirit, but Gary has said we are moving forward. We're pushing through, and we got a message to give to the posse. And so I think that this might be the last message of the year, but I'm super excited to see what it gives, because I think sometimes the end of the year comes excitement. People are like, new year, new me, the holidays. I think oftentimes for me, I love the holiday season. It's my favorite time of the year, or it's what I like to tell myself. But also it's the time of the year that just me being transparent, I get into funks. I get into I go into I don't want to be around people. I don't want to I put on a good face, and then behind closed doors, it's just I want to be left alone. And so sometimes it's like the holiday season is just so weird, and I don't know what it is, because I really do truly love it, but it just seems like it's a lot of pressure to just do things, and you're just being pulled in all different directions. You need to close out the year right, and it's like, well, Mish, what if I'm not right? How can I close out the year right if I'm not right? So it's like this time of the year is always just such an interesting space to be in for me personally.
Absolutely. And I feel like the holiday season in general brings up a lot of feelings for people. Like, even on the surface, you know what I'm saying? Like, holidays can be great, but they're also just like a reflection of the fact that we've been through like a whole year. Things have been great. Things have been terrible. Things have, fluctuated like up and down. And I also think it's kind of like this reflection of time passing, people getting older, you know what I'm saying? Things shifting. And I think that all of those different pressures kind of like compounded into one can make it a very like heavy time. Like, baby girl, before I even hopped on here, I was late. Listen, this is the most light I think that my house has seen in probably like 3 weeks, if we're being completely honest. Like, that's just how it's been. And something that you were talking about, and I feel like this is probably what the message is going to be like connected to today, is the theme of like connection, and how connection is like really important during this time of the year, for us to be not just connected to like ourselves and just like honoring where we're showing up as, but also connecting to other people and staying connected to our communities and staying connected to our families and staying connected to our loved ones and stuff like that. Because those are the things that pull us through these times, especially when they don't feel, the most joyous, or sometimes they do feel joyful, and that connection just makes it so much happier. You feel what I'm saying? So I honor and hold space for anybody's feelings. You know what I'm saying? Like, whenever they're watching this, whenever they're listening to this, wherever you're checking in from, because those feelings are valid. Those feelings are real. Okay. So yeah, keep pushing through. That's why we are here today, because listen, y'all, I got up today. I got up a couple of weeks ago because Brice hit me up and was like, yo, we'll do it this week. I was like, okay, we'll see. And then I had been sick, and I've just been honestly very depressed and very out of it. And then we were like, let's try it next week. And then today came, and I was like, oh, do you really want to get up and do this right now? Like, is that how you really feeling? But then I was like, no, like we have had this commitment to ourselves, to each other throughout the year. We've had this commitment to the Purple Pants Premonitions posse. You feel what I'm saying? And this is something that I just felt like I wanted to continue on in doing to close out this year. And also, I do know, as much as I hate to admit it, I haven't been pulling cards for myself or for like the collective or for other people for like the last like maybe month and a half, probably since my birthday. So this is honestly the first time that I've touched like a deck of cards since October. And I do know that when I start to like pull and get into the spirit and just like get into like that conversation with people, it does bring me out of that space. So I'm very thankful for you for like following through with me and like not even just like holding me accountable, but also just like allowing me to have the space to be able to like navigate all of it. I'm very grateful and I'm very excited to see what December is going to bring for us.
As am I. And it makes me even more, again, it's the holiday season. It makes me even more grateful for you, but the Purple Pants Premonitions, right? Because I feel like a lot of the times during the premonitions, you're reading the cards, and in my head, I'm like, why Gary gotta do me like this? Like, why do you have to like put my business on Front Street? But it really does. In like times like this, I feel like you and we do this for the community that the Purple Pants podcast has built. But I also feel like in some strange way, right? The Premonitions is doing this for ourselves, right? In a situation where you're saying, bitch, I ain't feeling that good. I ain't doing that. And I like the fact that like Premonitions said, you got something to do today. And whether you like it or not, you're going to pull yourself up to do what you have to do. And like, it's that accountability. I don't know when we created it or when it came up, but it's like, I just love the fact that even when days that we don't feel like doing it, we will do it for the premonitions, but really it's doing it for ourselves. And so again, I'm just very grateful for you. It's been a whole year of this and
another year, baby.
Another year.
The first year, girl. This is what, like 3-4 years at this point?
It's not the first, it's not the second, it's not the third. I believe
eat that.
I believe we're going on the fourth, but I'm just saying.
We love that.
Yeah.
So we are here. Well, I'm excited to talk about what we have coming up in December. I'm going to keep this relatively like short, kind of just like pointed, I guess you could say. I have kind of like a vision as to what I'm going to be reading about and how I want to kind of just like dissect the card and what I think the energies are going to be coming up as. But I know that this December, we've talked about like it can feel heavy, it can feel exciting, it can feel electric. Especially as we get older, it brings up and dredges up a lot of feelings. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm very interested to see what the vibe of the month is going to be because it has started off in its own little vibe. You know what I'm saying? December, she's been Decembering already. So I'm very interested to see what the cards have to say. So to close out the year, I thought that I would go back to my good old Judy, Tarot for You and Me, where it can be bought and purchased online. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it on Barnes and Noble. You can find it anywhere you can purchase tarot decks.
She makes a great holiday stuffing.
She does.
Okay.
She does.
Tis the season.
Tis the season to be jolly and girl, get into it. Okay. Because that's what I'm trying to bring, a little queerness. Because you know, they say queer is joy. Okay.
Girl, queer is happy. There you go with that queer agenda, girl. Okay.
Okay. We'll get into it, but I'm just trying to bring a little spice, a little icy spicy to it. Okay. But I thought that I would take us back to Tarot for You and Me. I'm going to read from the deck to remember what I wrote when I kind of like envisioned this card and then get into the vibe of what the energy is going to be for this month. So let me give y'all card ASMR. And I'll go ahead and, set a little intention, set a little prayer. Okay. Heavenly Father, who love us unconditionally, thank you so much for this blessing of today. Thank you so much for this blessing of allowing me, Gary, DeAndre, and Brice to be able to read these cards. Whatever is supposed to be heard on today for the month of December, allow it to be so. Thank you so much to anybody that is listening to this. Thank you so much to all of the supporters of the Purple Pants Premonitions. Thank you so much for another year of the Purple Pants podcast. And we are going to see what the tea is going to be, baby. All right. So, okay. They said stop here. Child, I'm getting all my weave, you know what I'm saying? Because I put my hair away because I ain't got a haircut.
Wrap it up. You
Gotta wrap it up
sometimes.
But she is hot up in here. She is hot up under this wig, honey. Okay, that means that the spirit is moving today. And I just have to say, like I said earlier, the word that kind of like came to me as we were like talking is connection. So I wouldn't be surprised if the card that comes out or the cards that come out have to deal with connection. But today, interestingly enough, we have two cards that are going to come up. We have the Queen of Lanterns and we have the Winds of Change. Okay. So with the Queen of Lanterns and the Winds of Change coming up both in reverse here, what I am getting from this is we haven't been feeling like ourselves. We have not been feeling like our best selves in the best way possible. And I think that this is just a call to get back to that. This is actually eating me. Because I just haven't been feeling like me. I honestly, like this year, I don't know about y'all. I don't know about anybody out there that's been, you know what I'm saying? Like listen to the show, what have you. But like the last couple of years have done me in. They've done me dirty. I have not felt like myself. I felt very disconnected from just like my core for a variety of different reasons. You feel what I'm saying? And I think the other thing that I've been struggling with personally is that with the Winds of Change coming up, I find this very interesting because I honestly can say that, you know, like when you know deep down in your soul that like you're not feeling like yourself, but you're not necessarily, you're not open to the changes that need to take place in order for things to kind of like shift in your life. I feel like that's what this is pointing to. And it's asking us to remind ourselves right now that we have to allow ourselves to go with time and allow time to heal all wounds and allow ourselves to be able to welcome in the new endeavors and the new entities and the new energies that are meant for us. And we cannot continue to resist the things that are meant for us in this season right now. I think that as we are going throughout this month of December, and I find it very interesting, my spirit is like, just like address it. That the cards that I pulled out, they make me feel uncomfortable. Like deep down in my core, like to even like talk about it. It's just like this sense of, wow, like I haven't been me and I haven't been my, you know, natural bubbly like self. I haven't been the version of myself, my highest self, as I would like to call it. And I've been scared to like, you know, switch some things out because of course, you know, when we start dealing with change and we start dealing with things shifting, we start getting apprehensive or we start getting, you know, anxious about the things that are going to like be happening in this new beginning, in this new epoch, I think it's pronounced EPOCH. I know it's like a new season, a new beginning. But I think that this is kind of like pushing us to remind ourselves of the work and knowing that like deep down inside, we're still there. And I think that right now, the spirit of the universe, God, you know, our ancestors, whoever it is that you believe, Allah, Buddha, whoever, like is calling for us to like get back in touch with us and understand what that means and do the work in order to see yourself through this season. So I'm going to read for the Queen of Lanterns first. With the Queen of Lanterns coming up in reverse, let's see what I wrote. Because child, I wrote it so damn long ago. I'm like, what did I say when I wrote the card? But the Queen of Lanterns coming up in reverse says the key words here are animosity, lack of confidence, and domineering. So if you're feeling a little less than your natural self, the Queen of Lanterns is in reverse is calling you out right now. Get back in order with what makes you feel at peace and at home. You may feel like no one is listening to you or hearing your thoughts out, or you may feel as if there is no space for you to take up in community with other people around you. This card in reverse sheds light on the fact that you may be feeling a little out of place in life, and it's causing you some agitation because you're not feeling like yourself. This can lead to you speaking or doing things that are out of alignment with your true values and how you truly see and value yourself. Have you been noticing some domineering energy or some animosity in your spirit? Get to the core of this inquiry within yourself and figure out what will help you to reconnect with your authentic self and voice to clear your energy of this tension. What is your voice trying to say right now? And how can you allow that voice to be heard instead of ignoring it like you have been doing lately? Now, that's a read. I don't know if it's you, but it is reading me for filth, honey. It is reading me down to the bone. Like, baby, I'm 6 feet under. That's how much this is reading me. Mainly because, just being completely honest, I haven't been, like I said, I haven't been feeling like myself. I've been feeling this sense of agitation. I've been feeling this sense of like disconnection. Like, it's hard to get out of bed. It's hard to want to talk to people. It's hard to want to go to work. Like, I was sick basically for all of like November with this, like, I don't know if it was a stomach bug, but if I'm being completely transparent, my stomach pains went away when I wasn't working, and then when I started back work, they came back. So I know that it has to do with my nerves, and I know it has to do with the job. I know it has to do with anxiety and stuff like that. So it's like all of these different factors that have been kind of like popping up. And I think that for myself, I've been having to ask myself, like, what do I want? Like, what do I actually want? Who am I actually right now? What do I want in order for me to be better? Because I've been making mistake after mistake after mistake and doing the same thing over and over and over again, knowing that it has not been healthy for me, knowing that it has not been helpful for me. And I want to get my life back. And I think that this is a call for you to get your life back in some way, shape, or form. It says to do the work. It says to clear that energy of this tension. And I think that goes back to that sense of connection that we were discussing earlier. Being connected to our communities, being connected to our family, being connected to our friends, them helping to remind us of who we actually are, them helping to remind us of what's actually important, them helping to remind us of the love that we have in our lives. Because I think all of that is important right now, especially in this season where things are really, really centered around family and connection and people and friends and all of that stuff. So I think that it's calling for us to really get back in connection with our community. And as we continue to become connected to our community, we allow ourselves to become reconnected to ourselves. So that is what December is kind of like. That's one facet of December. And then with Miss Winds of Change is literally resisting change, submission, and adaptability. Says the winds of change coming up in reverse is a sign that you're resisting fate and trying to control everything that's coming your way. This is gently nudging you to let go. I cannot right now. I cannot right now. Like, I literally cannot right now. This is a drag. What are some of the changes that you are resisting in your life? What are some of the choices you need to sort through in order to start making different decisions? This also comes up in regard to a shift of power that's happening in your life, away from giving control externally and towards taking back control for yourself. What spiritual changes have you been noticing are taking hold, and how are you ushering them in underneath this new beginning that you've seen yourself walking into? The winds of change is in reverse is a sign that sometimes the most necessary change is the one that feels the most daunting and challenging. And instead of running away, this is your time to run towards it and accept where you can incorporate these changes into your life. How are you allowing yourself to remain adaptable to the winds of change that are popping up in your life? Instead of running away from these winds, allow yourself to run closer to them and allow them to have their way.
I'm scared though. Okay.
Terrified, bitch.
Run towards that?
Are you sure, God? Are you sure, universe? Like, because that's not what I saw when I had my vision about what the hell was going on in my life. That's not what I assumed was supposed to be happening. So what are you really saying? That's why it's a drag. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's that really is, because it's like, I just feel like everything that you just said is everything that I know or that I already know of. And it's like,
I don't want to.
I don't, yeah. And it's not even that I don't wanna, it's that like, and it's not even that I'm scared. It's that it's this like, I don't know, like, I guess what comes to my mind is like unrest, like just difficultness. And it's like, I'm not scared of difficultness, but it's like, I just, again, like you've just read me this whole entire Premonitions, but it, my mind is all over the place because I'm like going back to like connectivity. And I really just think I had an experience like 2 weeks ago where I went to like my high school reunion and I ran into somebody that I didn't really want to run into. And it sparked this emotional roller coaster for me. And I had to sit with it because, I find comfort in like chaos and like, because that's just what I'm used to. And I sat with it for the longest time. And then I just had realized like, oh, the Brice that was in high school, like he's at unrest, right? Like I forgot about it. Like I just like I moved forward. I evolved. I became this new version of myself and I'm so great. But like this new version is so great. However, that you say like can this holiday season brings connectivity to family, to friends. And like I really think like for me personally, that message is like I need to connect to like not even little Bricey, right? Like, you know how they say your inner child? Like for me, it's like my adolescence because this interaction that I had at my high school reunion just brought up all of these things. And it really just had me thinking like, wow, how much this interaction with this said person has altered my life. And still to this day, like not the person, because let's be clear, not the person, but like just like my relationship, say with men, right? Like it's just it just has sparked this something in me. And I definitely realized that like, wow, like I actually need to heal from that because like I've pretended like I have, but I also feel like the universe has many ways of reminding me that I haven't, but I just choose to ignore those signs. And oftentimes I like when I meditate, when I pray at night, it's like, I'm asking for this guidance, I'm asking for this change. And sometimes I'll be honest, I get a little frustrated because I'm like, where is it at? Like, what's happening? Like, I'm doing the right things, I'm asking the questions, but like in reality, of course, what is the winds of change? What is it?
And the Queen of Lanterns.
It's like, but bitch, you're not doing the work, right? Like, you can ask for whatever you want, but are you going to do the work? Like, and so right. And it's sorry for that long-winded response because it's just I'm connecting the dots over
together. Listen, and there was something that you said that I also want to like pull out from there in regards to just like going back to your adolescence. And I think that this is something that I would be remiss if I didn't say. I think us, not just as like queer men, like gay men, but also as like Black men, like going back to that timeline where we were growing up, like that was a very confusing time. You feel what I'm saying? Like, and that was also a lot of things that we were navigating that sometimes are like, other counterparts don't necessarily have like the same like navigation. You feel
navigating
what I'm saying?
blind.
Yes, absolutely. With no direction.
No directions, hands tied, feet like
yeah, and having to like learn it from like external sources because that's all that we had like exposure to,
and not the best external sources.
Exactly, and different exposure because it was a very different time back when we were growing up, like in high school and in middle school and stuff like that. Like it wasn't
that long ago, but you're right. Yeah,
it was. Child, it wasn't that long ago, but it was long enough ago for it to be a very different vibe. Okay, we are two generations. We Gen Z and Gen Alpha, like we are, girl. So it's been some time. Okay, just being honest here. But I think that we have to allow ourselves to also know that, like at this point, and I think that I'm just speaking for us, and anybody else can identify with this. Like we are not in that space anymore. And we have so much more access, so much more wisdom, so much more like excitement to like look forward to. And so many things that I think that are tangible for us, like in this day and age, comparatively to like what we had like growing up. And I think that now is a time for us to know that we can literally like do whatever we set our minds to, and know that it will be successful because we've always been successful. Like that's been like, a part of the design that's always like existed. And I think that right now, like you said, it's time for us to not just pray about it, not just think about it, not just ruminate about it, not be depressed about it, but also follow through with the work. Now, I don't know about you, but it's hard for me to sometimes find the energy to do it.
Okay.
So it's very difficult. It's hard to find the energy. It's hard to find the focus. It's hard to figure out where to begin, but you got to start somewhere. And I think that that's what this is calling for us to do right now. Start somewhere. And maybe that is running towards it, or maybe not even running. Girl, you can saunter. You can lightly walk. Okay. You can tiptoe.
Yes.
But as long as you're going in the direction, that means that you're making some forward progress. And this is what's going to help us to get back to ourselves, to be able to welcome in this new year. I don't know why, but I feel like there's just like a lot of change that's going to be coming in 2025. We went through a lot of shit this year. I feel like it's going to be a lot more next year, but I think that it's all about the mindset that we go into it with and how we're allowing ourselves to welcome it in, and not be resistant. I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of fighting. And I think that this is just like a wake-up call for all of us that are listening to this right now to stop resisting, stop fighting against it. You know what I'm saying? Like, really listen to your spirit, really listen to your gut, really listen to the signs that are coming up around you from your loved ones, from literally, like, sometimes you be scrolling on Instagram or scrolling on a social media website or something like that, and something pops up and it's just like, wow, this actually spoke to me. I should really hold on to this. Like, I think it's time for us to take those little nudges and really do something with it as we're kind of like going throughout this month of December. But yeah, this month is really about not resisting change, getting back to ourselves, feeling good about who we are, doing things that make us feel like us, and figuring out what that is if we don't know what that is right now. It's time for us to do the work in order to welcome that in.
I also feel like the last thing that I do want to say is that, like, when we are trying to get back to ourselves, and we do that work, it might not be the self that you remember, right? Like, you know, like, we're evolving. It might, like, and I think that that is a part of, I think, honestly, that's the part for me that I struggle with, is that, like, it's like I want to get back to myself, but it's like, I don't know if that's the self that I'm getting back to, right? And so I think that that really is the scary part for me, because it's like, I don't know what I'm going to return to. However, I know that this shell, this form of myself that I 3, 2, 5 years ago would have aspired to be, I'm ready to leave this cocoon, right? Like, you know what I mean? And so I think, like, that for me, that's the scary part, right? Like, so it's like returning to self, or like returning home. It's like, it's not that. It's like, I just am scared of when I let go and when I allow myself to get there, what there is, right? Even though that's self, that's just like that's the ick for me.
The vision that I get is moving apartments, right? So, you know, when you in one apartment for like a X amount of time or whatever, you move to your new apartment. Okay, cute new apartment by Ari Lennox. I think she got a song that's named that or whatever. But you in your new apartment, and this is your new home, and you build new memories there. You build new beginnings there. You feel what I'm saying? But that's still your home. Even if it does take you some time to get adjusted to, that is your home. And it's got your energy in it. It's encoded with your vibes. You feel what I'm saying? Because you've created this new home, but it may not be the home that you're always accustomed to, but it's still yours. And I think that that's also, you hit it on the mark with that, because I feel like that's kind of like what we are having to like remember. Like, this ain't 2002. You feel what I'm saying? This ain't 2014. Bitch, I've been watching a lot of Married to Medicine, so I'm going back through like the 2010s. I had never seen this show before, so I'm watching that show or whatever, and I'm going, yeah. So
I got the receipts.
Okay.
The receipts.
Okay. Child, it's a mess. It's taking me back. So it's just like, you know, looking back at like fashions and like the vibes of like what things were, and the girls didn't have cell phones, like iPhones and stuff like that, like different time. You feel what I'm saying?
Bitch, how about this? It's not 2020.
it's not 2020. We are 5 years in the future. And it still feels sometimes like we are I'm stuck in 2019. I think that my soul died in 2019 and my body is still here in 2024, still pushing through. Like, bitch, I thought we were still in the 2010s. And I got to get my body and my soul to catch up to where we actually are to continue to live. Because I feel like I have not been living. And baby, that ain't it. You feel what I'm saying? So what we wanted back then, like I could ramble on and on and on about things that I thought that I was going to be doing and who I wanted to be and where I thought I would be in my life and all the things that I'd be doing, even with the tarot and all the spiritual work and stuff like that. And to be quite honest, that does not speak to me anymore. But it's just like, what does? What do I hold on to from that experience? What do I bring into this new season that I'm stepping into as who I am today? And what feels right? And I'm still navigating that. I have no answers for y'all. I really don't. But what I can answer is that I'm aware that there is some work that needs to be done. And I'm not about to sit here and lie and be like, oh my God, I welcome all of the change. I'm so ready. Like, it's going to be fabulous, because it's probably not going to be. But what I will say is that I am willing to receive the new and willing to figure out what I need to do for myself in order to get me over the hump. And I hope that you can do the same for yourself. So that is my reading for the month of December. Woo, child.
Okay. I knew this was going to be something, but again, I also feel like this is a part of like those steps of moving forward. And again, I'm very grateful to have you in my life. Thank you so much, Gary, for all of the insight that you pour into all of us. And even when you don't want to, even when you are at your lowest, you still give to us. And I appreciate that. I appreciate the posse for listening, because I know this message is for us, but it's also for someone that's listening. And
absolutely,
when you hear this, know that this message is for you, right? And we receive it. And sometimes, sometimes times are good, sometimes times aren't great. But we have to move forward. And I'm just very grateful for you, grateful for the Purple Pants Posse and this community that we've created. This is your final premonition of 2024. We will see you in the new year.
Yay. 2025 is right around the corner. That's crazy. That's so crazy. But I look forward to seeing y'all then. Thank y'all for sticking with us. Thank you also, Brice, for keeping me with you, being a part of my family, being my friend, and also just like allowing me to have like this space and have this platform. And honestly, just getting my ass here today, because bitch, I was not going to be here, honestly. And I needed this probably just as well as somebody else needed it out there too.
Absolutely. I got you, boo. Okay. No worries.
We got y'all.
Okay. Yeah. We got y'all. But yes, this has been your final Purple Pants Premonitions of 2024. We will see you in the new year. Happy holiday. Be blessed. Be well.
Ooh, it's the Purple Pants Podcast. You better listen in public, might make your stomach hurt. Ooh, it's the Purple Pants Podcast. You're trying to unwind, you better get that box wine. It's the Purple Pants Podcast. You're trying to get your snack, you better hurry right back though. It's the Purple Pants. It's the Purple Pants.